Hello everyone. In the last video I introduced plug in Elixir. We talked about the general purpose of plugs and the different types of plugs. In this video we will expand on plug and see how to create an API with pure Elixir without Phoenix. So the general idea is we are going to create a new supervised Elixir app from the command line. Then we are going to add Bandit, which is the web server that is going to power our requests, install the dependencies, configure Bandit to start in the supervision tree, and then add a file to handle the routes, and finally take it for a test drive with Postman. Right. So I have already created the app, so I'm not going to do it again. But you could run this command mix phx.new and then the name of the application, and pay attention to this flag at the end, supervisor. This is telling the mix task to create a new supervised Elixir application. So once you run this line of code, you will end up with an application that looks like this. Let me just resize it. All right. And then you would have an application file, which is where we specify how Bandit is going to be added to the supervision tree in Elixir. And then we are going to add a route handler. I called it router, but you can call it by any name. So we already created the app, and then we need to add the dependencies in mix.exs. So go down to mix.exs and then copy the current version of Bandit. You can get this from hex.pm. Just go and search for Bandit and it should give you the latest stable version. Copy it and then run mix deps.get from the command line. That should install the packages. Right. So once that is finished, we next need to tell Elixir how to start Bandit. So inside application file there is a start function which takes a list of sub applications to run in a supervision tree. We will see what supervision trees are in future videos. For now, just imagine that this is how you would tell Elixir, hey, we have a dependency called Bandit, and then all of the routing functionality is going to be handled via the plug module inside this particular file. And then the rest of the code just says what needs to happen if the application goes down and how to start. Like I said, this would be discussed when we talk about OTP and processes. So far we have added the dependency and updated the application. We told application.exe how to start Bandit. Now let's take a look at the router file. And this router file is similar to the code we saw in the last video, where you have two plugs, match and dispatch, inside this router file. Match basically is responsible for finding the right route and then dispatching code to it. So we have two routes here, one called high, which is an unprotected route, and then the second one called secret. So the goal is we need to get access to this particular endpoint. I'm just going to quickly walk through the code. Since both these functions receive the con object as a parameter, we can write a function to check the headers inside the con, and if it does not contain a key, then we are going to stop processing and return a 400. Excuse me. And if it is correct, then we just run whatever function we pass in. Here we are saying check headers, and then if it is okay, then run this particular function, which is just saying, yeah, you have access to the secret. Okay, now so far we have covered all of these. The last thing is to actually start the application and test, and you start it by IEX by passing in -s and mix. Now the application has started. I have Postman open and I am trying to access the first route, which is unprotected. and then it returns a response hello, which is as per this particular line here. Send response. Now what happens if we try to access the secret page? It says invalid request, which is what we told Elixir to do. If there is no XAPI key, and if it does not match this particular value, then we are not going to allow the request to proceed further. So you would come back here and make sure that the XAPI key is set and it has this particular value, and then you would say send, and then it responds with 200 OK. So obviously you would need more robust mechanisms for generating these API keys and then validating them, but I think this illustrates the point on how to use it. So that is it for this video. Couple of things that you could try to improve upon it is maybe add support for Ecto so that you can actually save information to a database and retrieve it, maybe even create a post endpoint so that you can create a user and try different versions of HTTP, like maybe put to update. So I will leave that as an exercise for you. This is all for now, so I hope you found this informative. I'll be back soon with another video soon. Thank you. Bye.